Hello and welcome to Flow Tricks. We have a special today. First, I just want to thank Dark Monk for making these awesome training chucks as well as my fire chucks, as well as Flow Toys. They make most of my LED gear. Thank you all so much. Today, we are going to go quick and fast tips to help you with your nunchucking. Let's do it. If you're struggling with throwing, you may be gripping too high. Move your hand towards the center, past the center of balance, and you'll find it to be a lot smoother. If you want to practice both hands, do a rip. For instance, if I'm doing figure 8 wrist rolls, I can catch it with my other hand, go into a rip, and I can do that exact same figure 8 wrist roll on the other end. If you can't catch your throws, check your grip, lower it a little bit, and it will go a lot slower. On top of that, if you give it more of an upward push as opposed to a twist, it will also slow down. So upward push, grab a little lower. If you want to improve the way that your whole flow looks, look up video delays, a BAM video delay on the iPhone or video delay for the Android. And that's a constant 5-10 seconds delay, which will help you so you can do your move, and then when you stop, you can immediately see the feedback of the move you just did. It's a super great tool for training. If you want to improve your muscle memory, watch a show while you're doing it and pay a little attention to your chucks, but mostly focus on the show. If you can't nail the move, repetition is the key. Do it every day for 5 minutes. If you're stuck in a rut, try a limitation. Only use your bad hand, put one hand behind your back, only do throws, only do bounces. The more limitations you put, the more you have to be creative to work around what you usually just do automatically. If you want to do movement, you have to add movement to the technique. So in order for me to do this move, I have to practice that movement within the technique. So I will stand here, I'll take a step, and then I'll try to figure it out slowly what I need to go to finish that move. So do it in little steps and make sure you incorporate it. Don't try to add movement afterwards unless it's a very simple move. Use rotor passes and cross grabs to quickly change hands and make it a lot more interesting, especially if you're ending up doing dyno hand or not using your opposite hand very much. Don't underestimate the power of a far grip. It allows you to get around longer obstacles that you couldn't have done with a high grip. In most cases, you either release too early, release too late, your planes are off, or your body alignment is off. That's usually the cases. Vertical chucks generally go in 2 directions. Anytime you want to change it, just do a little bounce. I usually do a number 3 bounce to get through it. That will give you access to all your moves and combos. Use that to create combos that you wouldn't normally make. Use little bounces. Finger rolls of all kinds require very clean planes. And as you do it, remember the finger is very straight and it's almost always perpendicular of whatever's rolling. So keep that in mind, it's gonna feel a little bit weird, but make sure that your finger is, the straighter it is and the longer that you have, the easier it is to maintain control. A lot of times people start going a little diagonally and they lose it because their finger is bent. Understand the strengths and weaknesses of different chucks and it'll allow you to learn different techniques. If you're struggling to do a certain technique, for instance, if you're struggling to do the wheel with this chuck, it could be that the chuck just isn't built as good as, say, the Dark Monk is really good for these kinds of rolls. But if you wanted to do, say, hyper style, since they're a little bit heavier, it's actually easier to use these chucks. So once you start understanding, again, lighter chucks is usually better for bounces and heavier chucks is better for momentum type things, you can use that to help you train more efficiently. Once you learn a move, like behind the back catch, find 5 different ways you can do it. For instance, under the leg, right? Or maybe you can do a throw with the bounce. Find 5 different ways to enter and exit that move, and then you'll be able to integrate it into your combos. If you find your flow, you're always doing the same moves, it's because whatever's coming automatic, you have a limited supply of. So start working on your newer moves and doing them so much to where you don't have to think about it, and that all of a sudden gets added into the giant collection of moves that you can do without thinking. The bigger it is, the more variety you can create while you can think of the moves you really want to do. Don't forget to stop. Don't underestimate the power of the balance point. Make sure you know exactly where it is, and there's going to be certain moves that really capitalize on being in the center, being offset. Once you understand this, it's a lot easier to know where you need to catch, where you need to throw, etc., etc. So once you learn a move, that is just the beginning. That means you're a white belt. Get to a black belt by being able to put that into 3 different combos, being able to do 3 different variations of it, doing both hands, and then adding different techniques to change it up. Play with other props to give you new ideas for nunchucks. The staff has definitely given me a lot of different tricks, so as glow stringing, double staff, poi, all of these have been integrated into my chucks. And you can do the same thing. Learn from all over and bring it into your chucks, and you'll find that you can renovate and recreate your style. Drop your chucks, come up with a fancy way to bring it back up in the air. Don't forget to slow it down at times and then speed it back up. Sometimes your brain is just cloudy. You want to do the move so bad, you're too in it. Take a break, come back fresh, and you may be able to nail that move. Even go to bed, and when you wake up the next day, all that training might actually be paying off. You just need to escape it. Don't underestimate the power of the back grip. You have a lot more control over this side. If you have 2 back grips, you have the ability to roll. Most of the real creative rolls that happen like this happen with the back grips because I have control over both sides. So where it's the front grip, I have more control over this side. That's my focus. With the back grip, I have more control over the opposite side. Keep in mind, your positioning makes a huge difference too. Instead of just a horizontal figure 8, we can plane bend, for instance, start with the horizontal and end up vertical. You can do this with a ton of moves. So just because you know that move, try it in all the different planes. Try it above you, try it below you, try it in front of you, try it in the wheel plane. And if you can get all those, then see if you can change it mid-flow into another plane, and it'll give you a nice challenge. I have 2 far grips like this. This gives you the most access to be able to do really different kinds of nunchuck moves. So if you want to get a little creative, why don't you try 2 front grips, but at the very end, and then just play with pulling the outsides around. When filming, intricate moves are closer, and bigger moves are back. Don't do the opposite. Here's a big move when we're close, and intricate moves when we're back. Not the same effect, is it? If you want a sharp swing, make sure you snap it, hold it a little bit lower than the balance point. That will give you the most power for your chucks. Nunchucks is a Comet, and most of the force is at the end. So when you have a weighted tip, it even puts more force at the end. The moment you start thinking of the momentum like Comets, you can start thinking about how different tricks require the momentums or the ends of them to be in certain positions. When you start envisioning this, it'll help you with your throws, any kind of throws, or even just great momentum rolls. Just start focusing. Like when I'm doing this, I'm thinking more about keeping these ends in motion than I am about my wrist. My wrist just is the tool to move the ends. So think more about the ends of the nunchuck if you're struggling with moves, especially with momentum or throws. If you can't figure out how to get to another move that doubles, just try bouncing 1 chuck. So get in the habit of bouncing 1 chuck, because you have 4 different ways that it can move basically. You got this way, right? You got this way, you got this way, you got this way, which is basically same time or opposite time. So if you're doing a move and say you want to get into a butterfly, boom. I already know it's 1 bounce, but you have to learn where that is yourself. See if you can figure that out. Good trick with doubles is to always keep one spinning and just practice doing single nunchuck techniques while not hitting it. Keep that arm extended when you're doing this and you're doing complex moves, and this will give you more space. Even though it looks like they're a little bit closer together, from the background it's actually quite far apart. So you go here, and this will allow you to get your throws off a lot easier, as opposed to if the chuck was close, I have more chances I could crash into it. One of the best tips for straightening your planes with singles or doubles is just to lock your arm out and spin it up and down until it goes back to center. Planes are super important. Anytime you're spinning a chuck, single or double, if I'm spinning the chuck and I need it to go this way, but it's going this way, the moment I let go, it's gonna go diagonally. So you wanna always have control of your planes. Plane work is not the most fun thing, but it will definitely help make everything easier. And bad planes can also make it impossible. I know this is a long tip here. And the last thing I wanna say is practice against a wall and see if you can come as close to the chucks without hitting the wall whenever you do your techniques, and you will have great planes. It's not about the amount of moves you know, it's how you do it. So once you get the moves down and you have all the variations, make sure that you add your own little spice or pizzazz that makes it yours. Keep in mind, everyone can do the same techniques, but you make it your own by how you do it, the way that you do it. I hope you have enjoyed these nunchuck tips. It was fun putting it together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, engage this channel so we can keep it going. If you want to support FlowTricks, we're at patreon.com/FlowTricks. We've had hundreds of exclusive videos, as well as group lessons and private lessons. If you're interested, that's on patreon.com/FlowTricks. Again, thanks so much. Happy training. I will talk to you all soon.